Hey guys, Urban Combat Survivor here. This video is kind of just my musings on the topic of the TSA thing and the riots in Europe and the fact that this administration seems to intentionally push buttons. It seems that so much of what they're doing is counterintuitive that it's starting to form, not starting to, it has formed a pattern. So, this is just something I'm chewing over, and I don't know, I'm not big on conspiracy theories and that kind of thing, so this seems a little crazy to me, but whenever I try to look at this situation from a new angle, what I come back with is, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. The whole pattern from the TSA rule that they put in place to what they're doing economically, they're bucking the trend. All of Europe saw what was going on and they decided, that's it, we're going to cut government spending, we're going to do what we can to make businesses thrive, cut taxes across the board for them, and it seems to be working in places like Germany and a few other places. And the civil unrest that you see over there is from the unions. It's the union employees who have just been told, sorry, we can't continue paying your ridiculous salary. We can't continue offering you this insane retirement of millions of dollars. Pretty much what's going on in the state of New Jersey is what's going on all through Europe. Now, for quite a while I was thinking that the current people in power believe that the American people are so docile that they wouldn't rebel, there wouldn't be civil unrest. But I'm starting to think that maybe that's their goal. Maybe they're pushing buttons as much and as quickly and as diversely as they can in order to try to destabilize more than just the currency. It's not like civil unrest has never happened here in the United States. It certainly has. 1992 LA was a good example. Katrina was another example. In the 60s there were dozens and dozens of examples. So it's not like we as as a society haven't had large-scale civil unrest in the past. We certainly have. So I started thinking about this TSA thing, and I wondered, what angle can I look at this whole pattern of behavior, starting with the insane healthcare bill, moving through this Senate S510 bill that they're trying to push through now, going through the second TARP bill, the big giant bailout, going to the $600 billion that they've just said, screw you, we're going to print anyway, even though you just showed us with your midterm elections that you're extremely unhappy with the way that we're hijacking the system. And the only angle that I can find, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody has a different idea on this, then by all means I'm willing to listen. This isn't something that I've locked solidly in my head, but the only angle that I can find where this makes sense from is if I'm looking at it from a perspective of one of two things. Either someone who is trying to actually promote and generate civil unrest, to what end, I guess we all have a good imagination, we can figure that out, right? Martial law lies down that road. And the other alternative is exactly what they did with the auto industry. See, the airlines have been being bailed out by our government for decades. They've been getting huge amounts of money for decades. Now, the reason that started is because of a lot of different things, but I hate to keep dropping things in the lap of these unions, but the reality is that union wages got so ridiculous, TSA is of course all union, that the airlines basically couldn't operate. Even if there weren't unions directly within that airline, most of the airports were unionized, and the cost of doing business simply kept going through the roof. Even though the skill required to perform these jobs never got higher, the salaries started going through the roof. Basically, a chimp could check the luggage and do the luggage handling, but in the end, they have to pay a guy a ridiculous salary to do it. So, If my goal were civil unrest, one of the things that I would do is something so outrageous that most people wouldn't imagine it could happen in America, like digital strip searches or crotch grabs is your choice. That's so ridiculous that I can't imagine anyone thinking it would fly, it would go over. Now, it's possible that these guys on the left are so used to the media kind of following whatever they want that maybe they just thought it wasn't going to be reported on or people weren't going to talk about it. But, at this point, with YouTube as big as it is, with the internet as big as it is, with alternative media, just a couple of years ago, Fox News was considered alternative media. And now, Fox News is pretty much kicking everybody's butts combined. So, they're no longer alternative media just because everybody's so sick of the bias everywhere else, right? Now, please don't do little rants about Fox News. They were just an example. This isn't about them. I can't imagine that this far into the alternative media growth that they would still believe that the mainstream media not reporting things the way they want them reported, was really their plan. So now I'm thinking, is it possible that they really projected that people simply wouldn't fly, which would put the airline industry in a very bad position? The airline industry, who historically has had a lot of struggles with unions, some of which they've won. Particularly, I think the baggage handlers in a lot of places, but they've been in a long battle with the unions. And now you look at this president's connection to SEIU and the AFL-CIO. Basically, the unions go sit weekly in his lap and whisper in his ear what they want. Well, the unions have been losing and losing and losing percentage of population membership for a very long time. What better way to bump that than to get the entire airline industry unionized? Well, since the airlines have been so effective at fighting certain unions, what better way to do that than to cause a crisis? Remember, never let a crisis go to waste. So what better way than to cause a crisis that causes the airline industry to be on the brink of failure? And we all know that they got to be too big to fail, right? We'll have to bail them out. And when they bail them out, they do the same thing they did with the auto industry. It doesn't matter what secure investments were in that industry. When it was done, everybody in line got screwed over. It went all the way to the bottom of the line to the unions, who got 45% control of that country, of GM, for instance. So if they can do the same thing with the airline industries, just by generating one ridiculous... Look, they know that the Supreme Court is going to throw this out. The instant this gets in front of a Supreme Court panel, they're going to say, it's unconstitutional, you're not allowed to strip search people without a warrant, and they're going to throw it out. Now, the guys in power aren't so stupid that they don't know this. But if it's not really their goal to push this law, if it's really their goal just to generate a crisis, with a crisis, you can start doing a bailout. You can save the airlines that you put in jeopardy in the first place, but, maybe people won't notice that part, right? So, it sounds kind of crazy, kind of conspiracy theory, but can you think of another angle where it makes sense what they're doing with these airlines? I can't. Just like with the economic stuff, it seems like their goal is to actually destabilize the U.S. dollar and cause civil unrest. I mean, Senate Bill S510, if that goes through, I'm hoping that nightmare won't go through. Again, it's so damn ridiculous that they have to know that the Supreme Court would throw this out. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Is it possible they're really trying to generate a crisis so that they can take over the airline industry like they did the auto industry and the banking industry and the insurance industry and the derivatives industry? Sure seems like what they're doing, right? I don't know. And, there was a lot of backdoor deals going on with that BP thing. I wonder how much control they got over the oil industry after that. So if you get the airlines and the oil industry, you already have the banking and the auto industry. What's left? McDonald's? I think that's about it. What do you guys think? Urban Combat Survivor, signing off.